Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and review my pressure washer setup. But before we dive in, if you could, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. Well, as you guys can see, this does look like a different setup than the one that I had before. But if you haven't seen the previous video, I'll go ahead and leave a link to the video in the description and with a card up above. Main changes that I've made to this setup is that I've gotten a new pressure washer along with a bucket filler down at the bottom there. I gotta say, my inspiration did come from Obsessed Garage, so I do urge you guys to go and check out his videos because it might be a different setup than mine, so you guys can explore your different options. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and take a deep dive into my water filtration system. Then we're gonna look at the pressure washer. We're gonna move on to the hose reel along with my gun and wand setup. So let's go ahead and get started on the water filtration unit. Okay, so here's a close-up of my water filtration unit, and what this is a water deionizer. It's made by Aquatic Life. And guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and leave links to all the products that I've used with my for my setup in the description below, so you guys don't have to search for it or anything like that. So as mentioned, yeah, so this is a water deionizer, and what basically happens is it cleans the water so that it's pure. So if you guys don't know what a water deionizer is, it's basically so that when you rinse your car, and if you were to leave it out in the sun or as you're drying it, it won't leave any water spots or anything like that. As you guys can see, my cartridge, it does look a little bit dirty, but it's still good. I use the TDS meter that I have up above there to measure the level, and what you want is you want the level to be 0 parts per million, because that means that the water is still pure that's coming out of the unit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a dive into how this works. So what happens is the water comes in and gets plugged in through the hose on that unit right there, through the quick connects on my hose. And the water actually comes from a water softener that I have in my garage, so I don't have to go and get a hose from the front yard or anything like that. So it's really quick and easy. Then if I want to use deionized water, I basically turn this on right here and turn this on, and the water now flows through the unit. So like I said, I mainly use that in the rinse process so that I'm not wasting the filter. And when I'm washing the car, such as with the soap or rinsing it, the initial rinse, I turn this off, turn that unit off like I did earlier, and I turn that back on. So now the water flows through the back, through here, and it goes to the pressure washer or the bucket filler. So what I've also done is I've added a bucket filler so that now I can fill up my buckets in my garage rather than trying to fill it up with the pressure washer hose, because that can take a while because the flow is not as quick as it normally is through the hose. This is a very flexible hose, so I can adjust it. I also have some valves here to turn it off and on if I just want to use the water. I also have valves right here, so if I want to stop the water to the pressure washer, different options, right? Just to make life easier. And then up above here, I've got a short little whip hose that goes to the pressure washer. And now we'll get into the pressure washer. Okay, so here is my pressure washer. And like I said earlier, this is a pressure washer offered by Obsessed Garage. This is the 1322 TS Total Stop. And what I did was I had it wall mounted on a shelf that I bought from Amazon. And really there wasn't much to the pressure washer or installing it, because it just sits on the shelf. Here's some different angles for you guys. Really the two parts that I needed to give attention to was the power and the shelf. So let's talk about the power first. So the power is on a 110 20 amp. So because of the amount of amps this pressure washer draws, it's recommended that it's on its own dedicated 20 amp circuit, so that it doesn't pop or anything like that when you're using it with a foam cannon, because when you're using it with a foam cannon, it does draw a lot of amps that exceeds 15, which is a normal household outlet that you'd have in your garage or outside in your like a covered patio or something like that. So luckily my panel is behind that wall there, so it's really easy for me to do through some help of an electrician friend. And the other thing was the shelf. So like I said, I got the shelf on Amazon. I wanted to look like a floating shelf, so I didn't have any brackets on the side or anything like that. So what I did was I went ahead and mounted it on a piece of wood there as a shelf, in a sense, for the shelf to support some of the weight, along with some brackets. Now initially I did use just those black brackets, but it just wasn't as sturdy. So what I ended up doing was I had some really thick L brackets, and those L brackets I basically just cut one side so that it wouldn't droop down so much, and I just used that L bracket to kind of extend it all the way to the front there. Now these things right here were for the original brackets for the wall. Like I said, I wanted to look like a floating shelf, and the reason there's some gaps there is because I needed the shelf to be level, and there's, you know, I put pieces of foam there and things like that so it wouldn't rattle, and also some spacers and things like that. And I think that was primarily due to the wall not being straight or something like that. But regardless, the shelf looks straight without even knowing that there's those spacers or anything like that below. So the inlet from the hose is back there, right? Let me go at this angle here. No, it's not gonna be good. So right there is where the inlet is. I used a elbow so that it angles better and it fits right there. And right here, I also used another elbow. Now that piece was really hard to find. This right here and this. So like I said, I'll leave the links for you guys in case you guys do want to do your setup similar to this. And this is a 2-foot whip hose going into the hose reel. And next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about the hose reel. So this hose reel is made by General Pump. It's held up great. Like I said, I bought it on Amazon. I bought most of these things on Amazon. And I think I've had it up there for almost two plus years now, 2 years and maybe like a couple months or something like that. Same thing with this hose. I've had this hose for 2 years and it's been working out great. And mind you, I have 3 cars to wash. So during the summertime, I'm probably washing at least 1 car a week, if not 2 cars. So, and it, you know, during wintertime it does get a break because I typically only drive 1 car during the winter. But yeah, it's held up great. It's a nice little reel and it's a nice hose. And next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and talk about the gun and wand. So this is my gun and wand setup. So this is a SGS 28 gun. The cool thing about this gun is that it is all stainless steel. And it's also got a swivel built in so that your hose doesn't kink up as you're using it to wash your car, your wheels, your driveway, or anything like that. The wand that I have here is connected via a quick connect so that when I want to remove it to use the foam cannon, or when I'm cleaning the wheels, it's a lot easier to take the wand out and put it back in. This wand I actually got from a previous pressure washer that I had. It was from a Sun Gel And the reason I went ahead and just stuck with it is because that tip there at the end is spring loaded, so that it's easier to take the nozzle out, and it just pops right out, so you're not trying to fight it, pulling the lever back and trying to take the tip out. All right, so that is the gun and wand setup. So this kind of wraps it up, guys. So this is my entire setup. What I did was I also went ahead and put a bucket right there so you guys can kind of see how flexible that hose is and how I fill up my buckets. I mean, if I wanted to, I could probably push it all the way back, but I kind of like it this way because then I can kind of measure the flow of the water going inside the bucket so it doesn't overfill while I'm doing something else. But yeah, so this is my entire setup. Thanks for stopping by. And like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate that, and hit the thumbs up button. Thanks again, guys. Take care.